What's up, Better Days? Today we're in the kitchen and we're gonna make a restaurant style loaded potato soup. It's really easy to do. It's one of these things where there's a secret trick that a lot of restaurants do, and it's not using the microwave. There's just one ingredient that a lot of people just don't know that it exists. And if I never owned a restaurant, I probably would have never found out about it myself. And I'm going to show you about that secret ingredient, and I'm going to show you how you can get it and how you can make this creamy loaded potato soup like you get at a restaurant that's just, emotionally good. I started with 4 pounds of potatoes. Soup is almost always a huge giant pot of something. It's tough to make a little bit of soup. So that's okay. Soup freezes really well. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a big pot of soup like you would if you were cooking for a bunch of people. This is 4 pounds of potatoes. You want to cut them up a very similar size so that they cook at a stunningly similar rate. Get them about the same thickness so that they all get done at about the same time. That's going to help be like restaurant quality. You want your mirepoix. That's 2 parts onion, 1 part carrot, 1 part celery. It's a fancy word that just means these 3 ingredients to 2 of these to each one of these. And that's going to be the base of a lot of different soups, and that's something we're going to use today. We're going to use that cooked with a 1/2 pound of hickory smoked bacon. And with the bacon, same thing. Cut it to the same width so it cooks at about the same rate. You want to cut everything up at about the same size so that they all cook at the same rate. So this is all we're going to use, plus that one secret ingredient: salt, pepper, potatoes, mirepoix, and a little bit of bacon. And then the one secret ingredient. And all you're going to need is a spoon to stir your potatoes, a spatula to move around your mirepoix, and then in the end we're going to whisk it all together with our secret ingredient. So we've got a pot of water. How much water is this? Man, I don't even know. 2.5 gallons maybe. It's a lot, but I don't measure anything when I cook. Like, just whatever I got. I think this is a carrot, and this is 2 stalks of celery, and this is a whole onion, and a 1/2 pound of bacon, and 4 pounds of potatoes. But those numbers are irrelevant. If you'll cook these ingredients together in this method with similar proportions, you'll end up with a very similar result. So what we've got is the front burner really low. This saucepan here to make our mirepoix is really low, on 2 on a scale of 10. Oops. We're gonna get all of this in there. And the reason it's so low, I've got the pan preheated, but you're not hearing any action. We don't want to caramelize any of this. We just want to cook it down and make it flavorful that way by cooking it really slowly together. Add this bacon. Some black pepper. A little bit of salt. We're not going to need much. Our secret ingredient's going to have a ton of salt. Let's get this working. We're starting this just before 5 p.m. Alright, these ingredients are cold once you chop them up and put them in here. So we're literally not going to raise the temperature just yet. We're going to let everything in here kind of get a little glassy and get a little warmed up. At least, you know, 100 degrees, just so the flavors start combining before we start adding any more heat over here on the burner. We're going to have to go up a little, but not a lot. All right, our pot of water is boiling. People would take this thing right here and dump it in there. That's insane. You're going to hurt yourself. I got this handy little, there we go, strainer. We'll just dump the taters in there like that. Potatoes are really starchy. I like to give them a, ooh, you can hear it. I like to give them a kick around to make sure they're not stuck to the bottom. That boiling action though, we'll kick them around. We won't have to worry about it much. We just want to let those soften. This is boiling rapidly. Let's see, everything's looking a little glassy right here. That's good. Oh yeah, there's some nice juices coming down there in the pan. Literally just a few minutes in, this is already reduced by about half the size. And these are rolling. They're almost done. This meal, the prep time, cutting up all of those, you know, peeling your potatoes, peeling your carrots, cutting everything up, that took way longer than putting this meal together. It just comes together in a snap. And this is coming together nice. We don't want to saute this. We don't want to caramelize these onions or anything. We just want them to have the flavor of that bacon, a little salt and a little pepper. You don't have to have carrots, onions, celery in your potato soup. You can literally just boil the potatoes, cook you down some bacon, throw that in there. Secret ingredient. Good to go. Alright, we're less than 20 minutes in. This is reduced. The carrots are still a little crisp. The celery's still a little crisp. But it's really taking on a lot of the flavor. By not browning it, it won't change the color of our soup real bad, so the soup is still going to be nice and bright white. And it won't change the flavor, because if you caramelize these, they're going to have a different flavor. And that's not what we're looking for. We got it just the way we like it, in less than 20 minutes here. Make sure our taters are done. I'm sure they are. If they'll fall apart for us, let's see here. Let's just give it the old squish test. Yep, fell right apart. He's falling apart, so we're going to reduce this heat down to about 3. He's still going to slowly boil. Alright, let's turn this one off. Let's take this and add it to our potatoes. Carefully, you don't want to splash. There we go. Scrape that out of there. Get all those good bacon juices out of there. Okay. I'm gonna let this simmer. There we go. With the lid on for just a few minutes. Alright, it's been less than a half hour to put this meal together, and it's about to be done. This is the point where real chefs and Michelin star restaurants will start making a roux or something to thicken this right here. But we're not doing that. And I've worked at a lot of scratch kitchens and places where this next step is pretty much what everybody does. Now, you're not going to win any awards, but you're going to feed your family, and everybody's going to love this. So we've got everything combined in here. And it was just 5 ingredients plus salt and pepper and water. That was it. So we're going to turn this all the way down. Really, we can turn it off as hot as the stove is right now. And we're going to let this heat in here reduce. For this next ingredient, we want it super hot but not boiling. Alright, this is what everybody's using. Cream soup base. There's a few companies that make this stuff. Legout, L-E-G-O-U-T is one of the brands that I always used to use. It's fantastic. This is from Gordon's Food Service. Gordon's Food Service has stores nationwide. A lot of food service places do. You can go in there and get some cream soup base. It's cheap. It doesn't cost a whole lot. And literally make you whatever you want. Your clam chowders. This is going to be potato soup today. Bring 4 quarts of water to a boil. Reduce heat. Gradually add cream base. Stir vigorously with a wire whip until smooth. Do not boil. If you boil, it'll break it down. Then it says additional water may be added to obtain desired consistency. When you know how they do it, it kind of feels like you're getting hoodooed. But this is some delicious soup. And no one's going to complain that it only took you 30 minutes. Alright, I was literally in the middle of doing this, and the furniture guys showed up and delivered my couch. So we just set this here on low for well over an hour now. And it's fine, as long as it doesn't come to a boil, this stuff isn't going to separate. But one bag wasn't enough, so we're going to add a little more until we get it to the consistency we want. Okay, follow the instructions, but it says to stir this in slowly. So we're just going to add a little bit at a time. We're almost to where we need to be anyway. And this stuff is coming together really nicely. It's really thick. That's what we want. All right. Yeah. Perfect. I'm gonna want a lot. Add any number of things to this. Put some cheddar cheese on there, some little chives, maybe some fresh crunchy bacon. I'm gonna eat it just like it is. I think it's perfect. It's hot. It's perfect. It doesn't need a thing. I said before not to add too much salt. This stuff right here, 1,000 milligrams per serving. 44% of your daily value. This stuff has a lot of salt. You'd be surprised just how unhealthy the food at restaurants is. That's why it tastes so good. This is fantastic. It's quick, it's simple, as long as you don't get interrupted. But even if you do get interrupted, as long as you don't boil this, it won't thin it out, it won't ruin it. So as soon as you start adding this stuff, you're good to keep adding it until you get to the thickness you like. That is loaded potato soup for about 500,000 people right there, which is probably going to be a little too much for me to eat, but it reheats really well. So keep that in mind. You can even freeze it. If you like that quick and easy recipe, consider subscribing. Thanks for watching, you guys. Have a better day.